What is IGF-1 and why would somebody actually want to optimize it? Well, IGF-1 is similar to human growth hormone, HGH, and they're similar because they both mediate elongation of your bones, also increases muscle mass, and then will also, of course, this is while your growth plates are still open, and you really, they close around when you're like 16 to 25, around there, so you don't actually always know when they're closed. But really, oh, hold on, let me put on my glasses because I'm nearsighted, and also if I can have them on, I look smarter, and then you can trust me more. Let's go. You might want to optimize IGF-1 if you want to increase your muscle mass, if you want to have your bones denser, and you want to make sure that you're able to compete a little bit more and have that just little special advantage. Now, there's ways that you can increase your muscle mass a little bit faster. There's a number of ways like testosterone, hormonal optimization that I talk about a lot in my channel. Now, for IGF-1, there are certain things you can do to actually optimize it if you are not optimizing growth hormone. I've also made a full growth hormone video on my channel for people who also want to optimize their growth hormone, actually, and not just IGF-1. But both of them are pretty good. So, elongation of bones, bigger muscles, your liver secretes this IGF-1, and how can you actually optimize it? This is what you actually really came for. The first one that I'm going to tell you is the most important one, the one that you can actually implement every single day easily, just with basic timing and understanding how your body and physiology works. Essentially, if you want to spike your IGF-1, if you want to have pulses of it, not only can you push your body a lot more, just similar to how growth hormone works, and put your body through stress so it needs adapting, but for IGF-1, if you want to have that form of growth, what you can do is you can time your insulin spike after your training. So once you've trained, you've gotten the slight testosterone increase is a bit below baseline. Now your body's trying to get to a higher, or a homeostasis, it's just trying to balance again. While you're getting through there, it's best to time your insulin spike after your training because you're most insulin sensitive around there. If you haven't had carbs much throughout the day and you're in a bulking season especially, time your carbs, your proteins, all that stuff, milk, eggs, meat, and fish, all that stuff together. Have a great, excellent meal right after training. Because not only will you replenish all these things, your body is hypersensitive because your insulin sensitivity can actually increase your IGF-1 production. So if you are sensitive to insulin and you time your insulin spike after training, you'll experience the greatest boost of IGF-1, insulin growth factor, by the way. Having a high protein diet, it is shown in scientific research that kids who had a higher protein diet from a young age ended up growing taller. Always. It always is the case because protein not only gives you more amino acids, but a high protein diet will do a number of things. Not only will it increase IGF-1 production, it will also decrease your SHBG, your sex hormone binding globulin, which makes your testosterone more free. Essentially what SHBG does is it binds to your total testosterone and makes it not usable. It makes it less bioavailable. So if you have more free testosterone, usually it's 1 to 3% of your total testosterone, then testosterone can help with growth and also help with IGF-1, with growth hormone, with all those things. So having a high protein diet, and I'm talking like almost even greater than 1 gram per pound of body weight. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. I can make a video on ways that you can get protein really easy if you guys would like that. Also, by the way, link in description, I just finished my full Super Soldier method. It's my full system for getting like jacked. I increased my bench press 100 pounds in the last 7 months, and my abs are still showing. I'm still fast. I can still run fast, sprint fast, all those things. Link in description. You already know all that stuff. Then there's cortisol and sleep. So cortisol can actually, having high levels of cortisol can actually compete for the male androgens, like testosterone and all that, and all those things. If you are in a prolonged state of stress, your body will shift to the fight or flight state called the sympathetic state, which is the opposite of the rest and digest state called the parasympathetic state. Now, rest and digest and reproduce is parasympathetic. That is meant for your body to repair, get bigger, and all those things. But the sympathetic state must be achieved in order for you to actually have the adaptation during the parasympathetic state. That is most important to understand. But if you are in a sympathetic state all the time, then you're not going to actually be able to have the adaptation during the parasympathetic state. That is the most important thing I want you to understand. So if you have high elevated cortisol levels, you won't be able to adapt, and your muscles won't get as big, your bones won't be as dense, and your immune system will be suppressed. So all of those things together are not good for your height or your growth in general, for either width-wise or actually like lengthwise, I guess. The other thing is sleep. What's more important than actually sleeping 8 hours that people say, or 7 to 9 hours, the more important thing is actually sleeping at the same times every day. Because think about it, your body, if you get 7 hours of sleep every single day and your body gets used to it, then it will time all those things together. Of course, like 9 hours, around there, 7 to 9 hours would be greater, especially sleep more if you're trying to grow more, to an extent, of course, but like 9 hours is probably like the higher end. That's pretty good. But if you don't have consistent sleep at certain times, your growth hormone spike doesn't actually happen as reliably. That's the best way I can put it for you. The most growth hormone you secrete, and of course we're kind of deviating from IGF-1, but they're kind of interlinked, IGF-1 and also growth hormone. When you have this growth hormone spike, it usually happens within the first 30 minutes of actually being asleep, like unconscious. So that's important to realize too. Avoid endocrine disruptors. So IGF-1 is a hormone, growth hormone is a hormone. And if you have endocrine disruptors, things like plastics, phthalates, all those chemicals that are actually interfering and interfering with your estrogen signaling, your testosterone binding to the androgen receptor, all those things together. If you like always touch plastics, if you cook in a Teflon pan, if you have like plastic cooking utensils, all those things, they can decrease your actual health long term in a slow way that people don't actually realize, because the hormonal effect happens a little bit slower. Because hormones are transmitted through the blood, their effect is a little bit less noticeable immediately. That's the most important thing. So of course, if you're optimizing your hormones, you're watching my channel, you're implementing what you're learning, I want you to also understand that you do not see full immediate results. And that is why most people do not have their hormones optimized, because most people are impatient and they need immediate results. So it's important we can do things immediately to actually feel good and feel more healthy and have better state of mind. But the actual results happen in like 1 or 2 weeks. That's when you actually see the real change. So the important thing is to make sure you are consistent with these things. So avoid endocrine disruptors because they can interfere with your hormone signaling. Plastics, they have BPA that can bind to the estrogen receptor and make your body look like it has more estrogen even though it doesn't. And so your testosterone negative feedback gets downregulated because as a man, most of your estrogen comes from your testosterone. So all that together, just avoid endocrine disruptors. Next thing, you can supplement with arginine and leucine. Again, protein, having a high protein diet will also allow you to have more arginine and leucine just normally. Of course, you can have like things like eggs, meat, fish, milk, all those things. Creatine. Creatine is a great supplement. It can increase dihydrotestosterone and a lot of bodily... It just gives you more energy, to put it in a very, very simple way. It gives you more energy, more fast available energy. If you're taking it, you'll notice you'll get an extra rep in the gym and your muscles will be more full. But not only that, creatine can boost IGF-1, actual like growth hormone, by 67%. This has been shown, and might as well, right? If creatine is such, it's the most researched performance supplement. Before, it actually used to be a neuro supplement, as in it used to be researched because of its actually potential to make you smarter. So especially for people who are vegetarian, if they're taking creatine, they can expect to have 10% higher cognitive function. That's really, really important. I haven't mentioned that in my channel before. Other thing is get lean. If you are not lean, not only do you have more aromatase levels, because aromatase is the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen, so you'll have less testosterone because you have higher levels of estrogen. What will happen is if you're getting lean, you're actually more insulin sensitive. So when you time your insulin spikes, you'll be more insulin sensitive. So what will happen is your IGF-1 will be produced way more, you'll be able to get more growth in your body, and all of these together you can use to optimize your IGF-1 production. Let me know what kinds of videos you want to see in the future, any more testosterone advice. Follow my channel, or I guess subscribe, nobody says follow, freaking weird. And check the link in the description below, because like I said, that's my full system. I just finished it. And as to put the cherry on top, like the video.